Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. The streets are waterlogged, the roads are inundated, and hours-long traffic jams have brought life in the national capital to a standstill. Delhi is now on extreme flood alert, with thousands of people being displaced as the Yamuna river surpasses a 45-year record level. Meanwhile, politics has erupted over the deluge. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has criticized Haryana government for releasing water from the Hathnikund Barrage, which is leading to the swelling levels of the Yamuna in the Delhi capital region, calling for the intervention of the union government. The Haryana Irrigation Minister has refuted these charges by the Delhi CM, dismissing them as baseless and lacking factual basis. Meanwhile, in the national capital, BJP MP Gautam Gambhir has also slammed the Aam Aadmi Party, alleging that this situation is a consequence of the freebies provided to Delhiites, or the emphasis on freebies instead of actual development. Putting politics aside, after heavy rainfall, parks, underpasses, markets, even hospital premises, even, Delhi government-owned houses and offices have been submerged in the capital. What is the solution to this? Who is really responsible for it? And could better preparation have been done, given that rains were creating havoc in North India for the past week? We'll take those questions to our guests in just a bit. Here are some of the latest updates from the capital amidst this monsoon mayhem. So schools, colleges, universities in flooded areas will remain closed till Sunday now. All MCD and MCD-aided schools have been asked to be shut till July 16th. Work from home advisory has been issued from offices operating in Delhi. There is now a ban on entry of heavy vehicles in the national capital, and evacuations are still underway from low-lying areas close to the Yamuna. But take a look at the visuals that have come to light. So first one, the heart of the national capital, a rickshaw puller pedaling through chest-deep water in the flooded area near Red Fort of Delhi. So this is, of course, the major landmark. This connects to ISBT as well and towards central Delhi. And this is the area that has been completely flooded as far as the central area is concerned. Look at the aerial shots which are capturing Nigambodh Ghat, one of the other low-lying areas in Delhi where the roads have been transformed into rivers. You can see the people who are actually inundated, their houses are inundated. A lot of these are shanties to begin with, and they are in chest-deep water. Men, women, children, imagine what would be their situation. Some of them may be seen getting out of the situation with these boats and carrying their essentials with them as well. Delhi's Kashmiri Gate area has witnessed unprecedented scenes as residents struggled against the struggling waters. Numerous houses, shops, cars, all have been engulfed in this. You see a tractor trying to rage through one of those areas, and it's interesting how one side of the road is seeing water coming in and it's completely under the deluge, while other side could still actually wade through in normal road conditions. There's the civil lines area, of course. Many Delhiites would know this is almost a VVIP area in the national capital. This is where the old secretariat used to be. This is where the houses of the chief minister, the LG, are. And the roads in this area have also been completely submerged. The situation has been prevailing for over 24 hours. So this is, again, the area where a lot of the ministers and the LG himself lives. There's also been, of course, as a consequence of this situation, massive traffic jams, snarls witnessed for hours. One such image came to light from Sarai Kale Khan, again a very arterial road of the national capital connecting Noida to Delhi as well, central areas to south. And the traffic diversions that have been caused in other waterlogged areas of the city have obviously led to these traffic jams where people have been stuck for hours. At the Delhi railway bridge, the forecast of the levels of the Yamuna are set to go worse. So while tomorrow, the levels, as far as the prediction is concerned, that they may come down a bit from the marks that have been visible today, they're still in the extreme category. And from 15th July onwards, the levels are set to rise further. By 17th July, it is expected to be as high as 208.94 meters. So this situation actually could prevail for the next 4 to 5 days. And that's because there is more rain expected today and tomorrow in other parts of North India, even if not the national capital region. So there is a red alert for Uttarakhand as heavy to very heavy rainfall is expected, more than 204.4 millimeters between today and tomorrow. There is an orange alert that has been issued by the IMD for UP, which is likely to get heavy to very heavy rainfall during the same period. There is also isolated heavy rainfall that is predicted over Himachal Pradesh over the next 5 days. And similarly, isolated heavy rainfall is expected over North Haryana over the next 3 days. The situation indeed could become worse. So that leads us to our big debate, the first debate on Plain Speak today. As far as this Delhi deluge is concerned, who is exactly to be held responsible?
This is the situation when there is no rainfall in the capital city for last 48 hours. This is the flood-like situation in parts of the city where the water from the river Yamuna is now started entering in.
Still where you can see there's only water, and in fact from the point I can see the road, that bit of road is the flyover actually, and that is the elevated road, and in fact once that elevated road ends, then yet again you see the water all around this very area.
This is a traffic jam that is continuing for miles and miles ahead. There is no end to this traffic jam that has happened. In fact, people have been stuck in this jam for more than an hour and a half, and this is very close to the Kashmiri Gate.
अभी डीडीएमए की मीटिंग हुई जिसमें सभी विभाग थे एलजी साहब की अध्यक्षता में, और उसमें कई सारे इम्पोर्टेंट निर्णय लिए गए। एक तो स्कूल्स और कॉलेजेस और यूनिवर्सिटीज़ जो हैं वो संडे तक बंद करने का निर्णय लिया गया। पानी की काफ़ी ज़्यादा किल्लत होने वाली है। 25% पानी जो 3 वाटर ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट हमारे प्रोड्यूस करते थे वो 25% पानी कम हो गया है, तो वाटर की एक राशनिंग करनी पड़ेगी।
तो मेरा मानना है जब तक ऐसी चीज़ें चलती रहेंगी तो राजनीति होती रहेगी। अगले साल फिर बारिश होगी, फिर हम कहीं ना कहीं ब्लेम गेम खेलेंगे। सच्चाई है, सिर्फ फोटो आपकी राजनीति से कुछ नहीं होगा। ईमानदारी की राजनीति ही दिल्ली को बदल सकती है।
Let's go across to the guests joining us. Rajiv Babbar is from the BJP, Anika Malhotra from the Congress Party, Abhinandita Mathur is joining us from the Aam Aadmi Party. I'm also joined by M. Ramachandran, who's former Secretary, Ministry of Urban Development, and I do thank all of you for your time. Rajiv Babbar, let me come to you first up. You know, you've had BJP leaders lay a direct charge on the doorstep of Arvind Kejriwal and his government, saying that because their priorities are giving free electricity and water, in other words, freebies, that is why Delhi is witnessing this situation today. Can I just understand from you, how are you linking the two, and what is your exact charge against the Delhi government?
See, the point is that this is a natural situation when you have a lot of rains happening, that we understand. But at the same time, this government, which was not active, this Twitter chief minister, who is actually on a political tourism always, at this time also he was in, Panchkula, giving his, lectures. So the point is, he is not working in advance. You need to plan, because the situation was, aware. Everybody was aware that this is going to happen.
Mr. Babbar, I seem to have lost your audio. Okay, let's try and fix that. Anika Malhotra, let me come to you in the meantime. Of course, Congress has been in power for, 3 consecutive terms under Sheila Dikshit, just preceding, Arvind Kejriwal's run. And the direct comparison is always made with Sheila Dikshit's chief ministership and the time during her terms and, what we are seeing in the last 10 years. Arvind Kejriwal led Aam Aadmi Party almost completing 10 years in the national capital. What do you make of the situation that Delhi is witnessing today?
Okay, Shivani, I think in your opening remark, you have said it all. There's not much left to say about it. But in all the debates that I've been attending, I've just been listening to rhetoric. From the Aam Aadmi, they've been saying, oh, we have only come in 6 months, MCD, we didn't have in power, we didn't get time to plan. stuff like that, and or blaming the other governments or blaming the other states as this to blame during the Pirali time. So the point here lies, indeed, BJP was there for 15 years MCD. The mess they created in MCD would have taken time. But having said that, Kejriwal government said very clearly, Shivani, that okay, we are here in the state, please give us MCD so that we can collaborate together and do a wonderful work for Delhi. Is this the wonderful work they are doing, ma'am, may I ask? Okay, you might have got it 6 months ago, whatever. But what's your preparedness? You are in the state for the last 8 to 9, 10 years. What are you doing? Has there been desilting taking place? Have you spoken about the drainage system? Have you worked on it? No, you're not. You're merely, come here, blame the LG, kaun sa LG, kaisa LG, or, fix up 400 people from your own relatives and fix them up as the jobs. Or speak to the MCD principals who have just come from IM. You're not bothered about Delhi at all. Rightly said, you went to Punjab saying, you said in Delhi, okay, I'm going to stop the Pirali, what happened. Now you're in Punjab, you don't talk about it. You talk about the entire atmosphere. So the blame game continues. It's unfair. Rightly said by you, Sheilaji's government, there should be a collaboration, a deliberation between the two governments, asking some help, because the priority is where children, women, or Delhiites. The low-lying area, Shivani, didn't you know the Yamuna might swell up if the water comes back? There has to be an outflow. If there's an inflow, there has to be an outflow. But you're not prepared. You're least bothered. That is why, and you say, कि मैं दिल्ली को झीलों की नगरी बनाऊंगा. Exactly, he's made it झीलों की नगरी. It's horrifying and deplorable condition.
Well, the situation certainly is very, very problematic. And yes, one could argue that the rain situation in North India is adding to it or leading to it. But on the issue of preparation, I think the government does have some responsibility. Mr. Babbar is back with us. Yes, please finish your point, then I'll bring in Ms. Mathur.
See, I was telling you the same thing, because, they are blaming that, the water is coming, but water is coming, everybody is aware of it. What you were doing, that's the point. We have seen a handling of a cyclone in Gujarat just last month. How government acted. They were there on the floor. They were working. They planned everything, and we have seen that how they have protected everyone. So the point is that you are not preparing. You are just doing a letter politics, and this is what is the way you are working. What happened during the COVID time? You were telling people that you will not get vaccine for 15 years. There is a shortage of oxygen. I'm writing a letter to Home Minister. This is the same modus operandi. Why, as a responsible leader, why don't you work in advance? Why don't you plan things? Why don't you talk to people? Why don't you create a dialogue? No. But this is how you are operating Delhi, and that is a reason we feel that you actually are befooling the Delhiites. You're not working for them.
Okay.
That is our
both of you have made your points. Let me go across to Ms. Mathur now to give her an opportunity before I go across to the expert on the panel as well. Ms. Mathur, there are two main criticisms of the Aam Aadmi Party-led government. One, in this specific case, you didn't really prepare yourself. Desilting is one of those issues that has been talked about as far as the Yamuna riverbed is concerned. The second issue is that any time Delhi faces a crisis, you raise your hands, you wash off your hands, and put the onus on everybody else but yourself. And in those moments, the Chief Minister talks in a very conciliatory tone, but rest of the year, he's attacking everybody and you don't work together with the other agencies.
First of all, I'd like to assure the people of Delhi that, your Chief Minister and his team are on the ground and we are with everybody in Delhi, and the situation may not be fully under control, but we are definitely giving it our all, and it will be under control, and hopefully we will be able to prevent a big disaster in Delhi. That's number one. I do understand what you are saying, and I do understand the anxiety this causes amongst the people of Delhi, but I totally disagree with the allegations made by both the BJP and the Congress spokespersons, because they seem to be speaking in the same language, actually, and totally trying to blame Arvind Kejriwal ji, whereas I don't think that resonates at all with the people of Delhi.
But who should be blamed
this current flood? Absolutely. Let me speak. There is no doubt about the fact that all our cities, not only Delhi, but all our cities need to be better planned. Unfortunately, it is the greed of the builders, of the governments, you know, of the people in power, which have just resulted in a lot of ad hoc construction throughout the country. And this is, I'm saying this with full responsibility and really not playing a blame game. I'm saying things as is, and you can confirm this with your expert. The other thing is that there is an unusual situation here, and which is that the water that is being released from Haryana has come in without any warning and without there being no rain in the last 3 days. So despite the fact that there have been less or no rain in the last 48 hours, the water levels in the Yamuna are increasing, and they are increasing because Haryana is releasing water.
But ma'am, can I just come in here? Can I just come in? Miss Mathur, I'll go one by one.
Yes,
I'll give you all the time.
I have a last point. I have a last point.
Okay.
Fair enough. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go ahead. On the issue of the Yamuna river levels rising, now you are right that Delhi may not have witnessed rains, but we do understand how rivers flow, right? If rains are still happening in North India, obviously that water will have to be released downstream. So there needs to be preparation for that.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I completely agree with you, which is why I'm raising exactly the same point, that when in a situation like this, when the water is overflowing rather, from one state to another, the state from which it is going also has to play a part, right, in helping the state, at least informing the state that is receiving the water. How, I mean, you might have, some sort of dushmani with Arvind Kejriwal, but how can you risk the lives of people of Delhi? I asked this to the Chief Minister of Haryana. I mean, look at the condition in Ambala itself, you know. So there is, I think that there is politicking and there is a real issue, and the real issue and the solutions really lie in long-term impact, long-term, steps that need to be taken for environment. But where is the Prime Minister? Instead of building this...
One second. The point is, long-term, you've been in power nearly 10 years. Long-term is behind you now. This is the work that should have been done. And leave the MCD issue aside, the Delhi government has to play a big role in this. And I don't quite understand how you're claiming you did not know that water was going to be released.
Yes, and...
But one second, one of our experts has not spoken.
Because that is a fact. That is a fact.
Let me go across to him. Mr. Ramachandran is waiting patiently. Then I'll come back to our political guest. He's former Secretary, Ministry of Urban Development. In this case, do you think there could have been anything that the Delhi government could have done in anticipation of the fact that for the last 1 week, we are witnessing, unprecedented rains in the northern states?
There are two things, Shivani, in this regard. One is when the season is on, there is a continuous flow of message as to what is going to happen, what is expected, and what needs to be done. So one has to be alert to that situation, and that is what governments are for. Yes. That's one part of it. The other point is, over a long period of time, what has been done to address this issue, because it's not anything which is new either to Delhi or to any other part of the country. So these two issues have to be seen, and I see it, unfortunately, I have to speak this out like this. I am not in the political scheme of things, but it's a question of proper governance. Shivani, I think you raised this point, and it's a question of government's accountability. These two come here, and any amount of discussions can take place, because every season we have this discussion depending upon the rainfall and things like that. One small issue, look at the length of roads in a city or in a place. Do we have drains in proportion to that to drain out water or not? Then there are other issues like encroachment, cleaning the drains before the rainy season. There are things like that. So why can't governments come forward and tell the people, this is what I have done, or this is what we have done, and this is what we propose to do? I think that type of a time has come where this has to be upfront, clear, rather than going round and round and blaming. If somebody is blaming somebody else, both are governments. People look up to the government. So that is what is expected from governments. And I think this is all this has to rise above the level of politics, so to say. And there has to be better governance as far as these issues are concerned. Otherwise, we'll keep talking about the same issue every year. Rainfall intensity is known, the capacity is known. But then what is being done? I think there should be a response from this point.
Yeah, there has to be responsibility. And I'll come to you, sir, one more time for the long-term vision. of what we can do both in the short term and the long term. But both our political guests have been waiting. Yes, Anika, what is you wanted to respond to Abhinandita?
Yeah. So, the point is, ma'am, in institutions also, don't we have the disaster management drills? Aren't we asked to have the fire drill, the earthquake drills, so that you're prepared for it? So that, in case of low-lying area, how will you evacuate? Did they ever do that? No. That's exactly why I said that they're just going to come here and do sweet talk. Oh, our minister's doing this, are doing that. And imagine, ma'am, for 9 years, didn't they know that Haryana doesn't have a dam? It's a reservoir. It's not even a reservoir. It can't contain water for long. It has to come out. The question is, what was the minister doing? Why didn't he collaborate with the Haryana government? That's the flaw. So both BJP and AAP, talking politically here, are sugar-coated pills. You can easily swallow them, but when they enter your body, they contaminate you. And that's exactly what they've done. 15 years of misrule in the MCD and 9 years of misrule in Delhi government. Both have collaborated and made Delhi, hell. It's unbearable and it's not worth living at a juncture. You see, on one side you talk about making it Paris or stuff like that. It was Sheila ji that we remember today, that because of that, the infrastructure is so strong. Not an inch has been moved beyond that. You should have gone a step forward. We have given you a platform to work. You could have worked on it. But no, you are busy, both the parties, performing like agents. So it's unfortunate.
No, fair
from,
enough.
Your liquor policy to stuff like that.
I think you're right. There will be comparisons to the era of Sheila Dikshit, and I am a Delhiite and I've grown up, lived in Delhi all my life, and there were visible changes in the national capital during her time. You could criticize a lot of other things, but there were visible changes. I've not seen those changes as far as infrastructure is concerned, as far as the national capital is concerned, and 10 years is a long time. Mr. Babbar, your own MP Gautam Gambhir is saying that Delhi has become a gutter. But you ruled MCD for so many years. You use these strong words, and today maybe those words are apt. But you can't blame Aam Aadmi Party alone. And what about the question that Abhinandita is raising about Haryana government's collaboration with you?
See, the point is, I just want to make it very clear. I was just listening to Aam Aadmi Party Pravakta and I was surprised. She was talking about Haryana is, giving water. You should have a better understanding of this, because that water, as far as this barrage is concerned, this barrage is getting water from Himachal and from the mountains, and it is divided into 3 states, not only to Delhi. It goes to Haryana also, it goes to UP also. And there is a limitation. They cannot store more than 10 lakh cubic liter water. That everybody is aware. Now the point is, the interesting point is, when they are leaving the water, the situation is that water reaches Delhi in 72 hours. Your government was actually sleeping. Now you are doing a drama politics. That's my question. We want to help you. We want to coordinate with you. But with whom? A person who is writing a letter every time, whether it is a COVID time, whether it is off-season time, whether it is a flood time. Every time this man is writing letters doing nothing.
Okay.
And their pravaktas, their CM, their leaders were telling Delhi that you will not get vaccination for 15 years during that COVID time. They were actually creating fear in Delhi Heights.
Okay, let her respond now. Ms. Mathur, added to the issue that Mr. Babbar has raised, let me remind you about the issue of Delhi pollution, which is an yearly phenomenon. Now, floods may not be an yearly phenomenon in Delhi. And as Delhiites, we all used to be proud. We have wide roads, largely good roads, and we have the Yamuna bed that can absorb some levels going up and down. And at least in 40 years, we hadn't seen this situation. We all used to feel very proud of it. And today, we are not feeling that proud of this fact, of the situation that Delhiites are having to go through. But whether it's pollution, whether it's water that needs to flow downstream into states like Delhi and others, it's oxygen supply, it's other issues that your opponents are raising. In every case, you cannot raise your hand and say, I am not responsible for it, or my neighboring states are responsible for it. That doesn't fly every time.
I understood what you're asking. I'll, without mincing any words, I'd like to respond to the BJP spokesperson as well. First of all, nobody is, washing away hands from responsibility. The Chief Minister, all our ministers, all our councillors, all our MLAs are on the ground. We are saying, yes, we are taking responsibility for it and we are here to serve the people of Delhi. So I would firstly refute that claim. Number two, what the BJP spokesperson was saying right now about the technicality, Well, if you think that 72 hours was given by the Haryana government, then what exactly was your LG doing? He have seen him, doing
So
boat
then
rides
now
and
you're
taking
coming to
photographs
LG.
of boat
Why
rides
you're
in the
not
Yamuna
replying?
for the last 4
So now
months.
you're
This is
coming to-
practically
now you're
his,
coming to LG.
favorite
Now you're coming
recreational
to
ground.
LG.
And then where
Why-
was he?
why you're not
If
replying
he's
to
the
questions?
administrator of
You're
Delhi, if
elected.
he's
Oh
going
my
to take
God.
the credit
Oh my
for
God.
cleaning up the Yamuna and
oh my
so on and
God.
so
So
forth,
now-
then what
now
exactly
it's
is the
LG.
coordination between
not able to
the
handle the
Haryana
situation,
government
now
or the
it's
central
LG.
government and the LG? Why
Otherwise,
have the LG
Abhinandita,
at all
I
in
am
the first
king.
place?
Mr. Baba, one by one.
Instead of coming in the
Mr.
way
Baba,
of
one by one. But
of the Delhi
Abhinandita,
government's
that's
work, he
exactly
could have
what
just
I'm
taken
saying.
responsibility and
That
he
in
likes to
every
take credit.
case, you
That is
cannot
number two.
blame
About
everybody
the technicality
else.
of these 72 hours and the water coming from Haryana, I understand that the bifurcation of water and the way in which the system is in place, but one must also remember that the barrage in Delhi, the ITO barrages, are actually under the Haryana government. So then what is the Haryana? So if we want to get technical, then we must have a very technical debate and
Okay,
we will
can I ask
argue.
you a
And I'm
simple
afraid that the
question?
BJP
Abhinandita,
spokesperson
it's
is
not
going to have
in
much
any
to
of
say
our
because
interest. Once again, one by one, please.
What do you want to ask?
Please, one by one. I just want to ask you a
live
straight
in
question.
harmony or
Forget
let
everything
people of
else.
Delhi be safe
What
is
is the
not on the
preparation?
agenda of the BJP.
Mr.
It's very
Ramachandran asked a very fair question.
Time and
What
again,
is the
what BJP
preparation
tries to do
that
is
the Delhi
actually
government
completely
made?
stifle the functioning of Delhi, and
Abhinandita, I think you're not getting my audio. If I'm through to you, what is the preparation that the Delhi government made? Forget everybody else. They'll be asked questions. What is the preparation you did for the monsoon season? I think we've lost her connection. Let me go across to Ramachandran once more time. I want to understand in brief, sir, this is a complex issue. Short term and long term. Let's say short term, when we knew that this year monsoons are creating a havoc, particularly in North India. What is it that could have been done, point by point? And long term, what do you think needs to be done?
See, as far as the short term is concerned, I think a good part of the public would know there are always mechanisms in position to anticipate what is going to happen. There are intergovernmental exchanges if more than one government is involved. There is a central water resources ministry. All these become aware, and the disaster management system is supposed to take note of this and do all preparatory work. One would come to know where the excess is going to be as far as water is concerned, and which are the areas which are going to be affected the most. So what is it that we do for them so that they don't get affected by this excess flow of water? That is something which is done by alert administrations every time just before the rainfall starts and when the rainfall is on, depending on the intensity. An alert administration is supposed to work on this basis, and chief secretaries, if required, they talk to their counterparts in other states if that is required. That also happens. But it's an alert situation which should address this issue so that people do not suffer. As far as the long term is concerned, I think I would start by saying that we all have to take note of the message from the climate change factor. We only talk about it, we don't really seem to be addressing the issue. And that is what is important. All this is happening because we have ignored this agenda for quite some time. So what is it? In the long term, what is it that we are going to do? Increasing concretization. It may be good as far as development is concerned, but then where does the water go? When we approve concretization, do we take note of the fact that this much water normally comes there at that particular place or so? Water has to seep in. If it can't seep in, it has to flow somewhere. So does the city, does the drains have the capacity to carry this much water? If there is an increase in capacity, what is being done? So one of the concepts for cities are service level benchmarks. What is the road network? What is the drain available? And can this much water be taken and what needs to be
So can I ask you, sir, because the Aam Aadmi Party representative is insisting that this is not just their responsibility and Delhi is not a full state. You've been part of the Urban Development Ministry. Do you think that there is a greater role or an equal role of the union government in this situation?
2 points here, Shivani. One is there are different programs of the Urban Development Ministry. I recall from my days of the National Urban Renewal Mission, when cities could propose projects for drainage improvement. So any number of schemes which can be taken up, and it continues under Amrit also. Unfortunately, the fact is what is visible is taken up as priority. What is not visible, drains and sewage are not visible as far as governance systems are concerned, so that takes a backseat. So what is important is, I've emphasized this point again and again, drainage master plan for the entire city. at least this is the time when we should do active work on that and address the issue as far as drainage is concerned. That is a requirement, and there are programs which can take care of this. Just one last point. I repeat this point, the huge assistance given to the city of Mumbai years back called Brimster Award, more than 1,000 crores, considering the issue which repeatedly came up in the city of Mumbai. So there are always possibilities to find solutions. The will has to be there. If the will is there, I think we can gradually improve on the situation.
Okay, so Abhinandan, I think you can. Yes, Mr. Babar, I'll give you an opportunity. But let me ask that question. I lost the audio with Ms. Mathur. My straight pointed question was, you can blame everybody else, LG, Haryana, Union government, everybody under the sun. But somewhere you will also have to tell the public what is it that you did in preparation. Let's say you were caught off guard. I don't know how that happens to a government, but let's say that happened. But what is it that you were doing in preparation for monsoons in Delhi?
That's a fair question. And I would actually like to tell you that the Delhi government has actually been working on to improve the sanitation and the drainage in Delhi, and which is why, unlike the times of the 1978 floods, or unlike earlier times, we actually don't have such a disaster. And like I was assuring you earlier, that we actually... Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So I can assure you that it is because of some preparedness that we have managed to actually save a bigger disaster.
Okay, Mr. Babar, I have 30 seconds left only. Only 30 seconds left. Mr. Babar.
Yeah. See, I just want to add, as Mr. Your expert also raised this issue. The master plan for sewerage is pending with Arvind Kejriwal government from last 9 years. They have done nothing on that.
That is not true. That is not true.
That's right, ma'am.
That is not true at all. That is a lie.
True, madam, please,
that is an absolute lie. On what basis are you making such a big claim?
I am saying this is on record. You can.
You provide the document. You are making a claim.
I will.
You are the one making a claim. Where is the document? With what sort of confidence are you lying on TV? I am really sorry. I am really sorry. I must object. You are spreading misinformation.
No, not at all.
Where is he? He's making an allegation. The onus to prove it is on him.
Okay, Ms. Abhinandan, your point taken. Let him just finish. Mr. Babar, I have limited time. Please finish. Move on from that point.
Yeah, so I have raised this one point, and the other point also. Things which can be seen, they are investing on that. The real work they are not doing on ground, and that is the reason at the time of COVID, at the time of flood, and any problem in Delhi, the government is only doing tweets. CM is doing tweets and writing letters. That's all.
I leave it at that. Let's hope that at least for the next week or so, we can all come together and work on this situation. I thank all of our guests for joining us. Let's also slip into a very short break. On the other side, we'll get you more on the Prime Minister's visit to France. Remember, he has touched down for his 2-day visit. New Delhi is all set to ink major defense deals with Paris. We'll get you more on the other side.